However, I still need to know about these people, and from the other side, I accept the criticism of it would be nice to hear from people. So please, allow me to solve that problem for you, because I sat down to have a conversation with the voice actress of Sweetie Belle from My Little Pony, the wife of Black Gryph0n, Claire. Let's go in levels. Can we start with Amy New?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you tell me about Amy New and why why the wife of the voice actor for Big Macintosh is somehow involved in attacking your sort of, I guess, circle?
All right. I will tell you all the things that I know about her. I know. I'm like, I don't know. I'm hesitant to say things, but at the same time, I feel like I've been so polite and nice for so long that I think I don't feel like being polite and nice anymore. So there's my grain of salt before I say what I'm gonna say. I don't know where the switch was with Amy. I don't know if my own father has talked to either of them. But I do know that my dad has reached out to people that I've worked with and warned them about me when I had told my parents that, I was in a relationship with Gabe. And this is when I was almost 20. I don't know when the swap or switch was for Amy. I had met her a few times before. I knew she was married to Peter New. I think I can't remember a whole lot about her. But I don't know. I don't know. She's like kind of mixed up in the fan world, and she came first as a fan. To my knowledge, she was a fan first, and then she just kind of started dating Peter, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And she was kind of like a fan of My Little Pony and a fan of Peter, and then started dating. And I was like, oh, okay. And I didn't really think much of it at the time. I didn't really care. As an adult looking back on that situation, I also know that I'm pretty sure that Amy has like publicly stated before at some point that she was just like really concerned for me because she had kind of alluded to, I was a grooming victim and I didn't know, and I was smart and I was, in love and I knew what that was like, and I just feel really bad for her. And I'm like, why do people freaking keep saying this about me? Like I'm some idiot that, and this is the thing too, like, even if I get frustrated about it, people are like, oh, I understand that you're so angry. Like, you're a very, like, it doesn't mean that you're stupid. You can be a smart person and get in a situation like that. I'm like, yeah. And I freaking know what that's like because that was my family's situation. And I hate it when people say that to me as if I don't know what that's like. And one day I'll figure it out. One day I'll figure out that I've been groomed. And I'm sitting here like, nobody knows that I've basically already been through this. People talk about grooming in this non-sexual way, which is so funny because I'm like, why the frick would I be groomed non-sexually into a marriage? What's the marriage for? Shaking hands? Like, what the hell? It just doesn't make any sense. But I hesitate to use the word groomed just because I hate it so much at this point. But I have had a lot of conditioning for other things in my life that once I became 18 and realized and gave myself some authority in my own life, I'm not going to do this just because this person says so. Just because this person is in my family and is telling me blah, 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 doesn't mean that I have to do that anymore. And so, anyway, to make a long story short, there are... I think it's really funny that Amy is somebody who is saying this kind of stuff, she wouldn't know, started off very I feel bad for her vibes, and then immediately went to I'm blocking you, you're a danger, and I'm paraphrasing here, but that is the vibe that is being directed towards me now. And I think that's also really funny, considering Peter New is somebody who has said inappropriate things about girls who are underage. And that is just laughable to me. And I feel like every single person who is the most loudly outspoken people about this situation are people who've got their own weird freaking skeletons. And I just sit here and I'm like, surely people can't believe this. Surely people have a brain, but apparently not, because now we're in the situation that we're in now. And it boggles my mind, and it just makes me roll my eyes, quite frankly.
I mean, I think that moves us on to sort of Sophie Scruggs and Fandom. But why don't we start with Scruggs, because I'm baffled at their involvement, frankly. I don't really understand it.
Okay, so here's all that I know about Sophie and my history with her. These people, I don't understand. It's like this weird parasocial behavior that has rapidly moved. It's like it's dancing on the borderline of obsession, because the moment somebody is like knows a bunch of stuff about you, looks up to you, and I'm not saying that to be arrogant. I'm saying that because I've witnessed this firsthand, when people treat you differently because you're a voice actor on a show that literally outside of the hotel the convention is held at, nobody gives a rat's anus about. And it is so weird to me that, and I'm using this as a specific example, and I actually had to go back and research this because I had forgot about it because it meant nothing to me. Sorry, Sophie. I'm not trying to be rude here, but I don't remember that I complimented your snail once. That was something that I did in the moment because I was being friendly and nice. And now somehow I'm getting backstabbed because you decided to tweet out to everybody years ago, the last time you got frustrated that I was in a relationship with Gabe, before we were married and we had announced that we were dating. You said you were worried for your dear friend, your close friend, Claire, me. And I'm sitting here going, who the hell are you? Have I even met you before? Like, what the frick? Then I have to go back and I find out, oh, thank God. I actually did meet her. Okay, so she's not, totally crazy. But then I keep reading this stuff and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is literally it. I complimented your snail one time, and I think I might have DM'd you about a bag that I saw at a convention, and you were at the convention, and and I walked through the vendor hall, and I was like, wow, you have really pretty bags, because one of them had my character on it, and I was like, that's so cool. I think I might have taken a picture of it. And then I was like, hey, like, how do you sell your bag? I think I DM'd her of like, hey, how do you sell your bags? Like, I might have wanted to retweet that or promote that at some point, right? And I find out that this person is, first of all, has also been kind of a Gabe hater for a while. Like, prior to me being involved in this situation, had one person tell her one thing that was complete hearsay, because this went around at conventions a lot. People were really, I think, pissed that Gabe, had found success, quite honestly. I think that's what it was. And there was this bubbling, underlying level of jealousy, basically, that had kind of started surfacing the more popular that Gabe had got within the fandom. And I think now, because, and Saberspark is another one of those people who are ending up finding success further than outside of the pony fandom, which nobody should freaking care about anymore, by the way. It's over. They're finding success. They're moving on in their lives. They're figuring out what they want to do with their careers. How am I going to pivot? How am I going to, create content? What is it going to look like now? And as they do that and they find success, these freaking bronies, and I hate to use that as an umbrella term because I know that there are plenty of bronies who are out there that are very cool and very sweet, very nerdy, nice people who just, want to have a community and want to make friends. But there's also like very clearly, and I don't think this was always there, by the way. I think that it developed over the years, this like weird like sexual part of the fandom. But before that, it was just like, it was memes and like, oh, we shouldn't be watching this show because it's like for little girls. Haha, that's kind of funny. And that's how a lot of these people fell into it. That's how Aber fell into it. That's how Gabe fell into it. That's how Jeff fell into it. Like all these people, that's how it started. And then they got a little bit popular because they had, content that they were making that people really liked. And then they moved on. And people are somehow so freaking pissed. And Sophie being one of these people who keeps saying things, by the way, make up your freaking mind, Sophie. Is Gabriel successful outside of the pony fandom, or has he reached his peak already? Because you've said both, and you can't just pick and choose when you want to use that as a punching bag for the end of some point you're trying to make. It doesn't make any sense. He's either successful or he's a has-been. Which one is it? Come back to me and freaking figure it out. But anyway, I've learned my lesson. I'm not going to compliment people on their snails anymore for fear that 7 years down the road, when I become an adult, that they're going to attack me after I've stood up for myself and said, hey, what you're saying is not true about me. And by the way, I'm not a close friend of yours. I don't know who you are.
One thing they serve to highlight is the insane level of A-logging these people have been subjected to over the years. We're talking anything public about these people. It's been trawled through and picked apart by this lunatic to find anything damaging. And I want to show you that through the perspective of Michelle.
With Gabe and Claire, the irony is we've calculated now that Gabe and Claire met outside of conventions roughly 6 to 7 times. And we've gone through all of our photos, all of our videos, like collectively to calculate accurately how many times it would have been when she was a minor outside of like conventions, and it still would have usually like that's including like video shoots. It just happens to be that literally 5 out of 7 of those times were filmed. So to these people it looks like so much. It was like those were literally the only times they interacted, and then maybe the other 2 times were my 2 birthdays. You know what I mean? Like it's just so, the irony is crazy. It's like those were literally the only times they saw each other. Oh, and one other time we saw like Book of Mormon, and I don't think we filmed any videos there, but we like posted a picture. So it's literally all these times they're finding, those are the only examples. Like no more exist essentially.
I don't understand how it's the people who are taking this way too seriously that get so wrapped up in this. And they're like, look at here, they're by themselves. And I'm like, no, we're not. We're with another person. They're right freaking there. And they just take screenshots of, which I think is so funny. The fact that they're like screenshots from videos that I made. And someone's like, please send this to Claire. We can still get her out. There's still time. I'm like, why is your goal that you want me to get divorced? Or is it a step further? Do you want me to freaking marry you? Because that's creepy. You know why? Because unlike Gabriel, you guys have been obsessed with me since I was 13. So maybe think about that the next time you look at yourself in the freaking mirror. Jeez.
So one of the things that people, claim is an inaccuracy that counters reality of how many times Gabe and Claire spent together and how close friends they were was Gabe saying we weren't friends. I know Gabe's definition of friends. I know he would not have considered Claire a friend, because he would consider somebody a friend that he had contact with, phone number. He only had Claire's phone number, I don't know, some point like 2017-ish, because one of her parents gave him, one of her parents gave Claire Gabe's number, and that actually made Gabe really uncomfortable. And I was there when he first received a text from her, and he was like, oh God, why did they give Claire my number? I don't want her to have my number. There were other people are in the room too, so I'm not even the only witness to that. But they, again, we've calculated it specifically. They only spent 6 to 7 times approximately together outside of conventions, and I think, yeah, 5 or so of those times were filmed, and there was only one instance during our entire childhood minority period where Gabe and Claire and I, just the three of us, were alone. And it's that one video of us going out into the woods. And I deleted it because I felt showing the dead raccoons was inappropriate. I deleted it like 8 years ago because I just thought it was kind of a gross video. That's literally the only instance. And these people somehow like went, I don't even know how they found it. And they thought I deleted it because the comments were inappropriate. It was literally like a super popular video. I deleted it because I just thought it was gross. And I've deleted, like, I don't know, I unlisted a bunch of videos a long time ago because I was just like, I don't know, we're just kind of like being immature. Like, I didn't like showing a pile of 5 dead raccoons on my channel. That just wasn't professional. I was focusing on my music. So I unlisted a bunch of those videos I just thought weren't really, I wouldn't want people to like go back and see now just for my own sake. Not because not because the comments were like inappropriate of, oh, Gabe's taking 2 young girls out in the woods. We were there for probably an hour and it's 5 minutes away from my house. And both of our sets of parents would have approved it, and literally every other time Claire and Gabe would have ever seen each other when Claire was a minor, parents and many other adults would have been around. Every single time. That's the one video, and they used that one single video that I even deleted and they somehow found, I don't know how, as proof that they spent time alone. It's completely untrue. Completely untrue.
Now, to some of you, this might feel like new information, or flies in the face of what you've been told previously, but there's 2 things I'd like you to keep in mind. Firstly, that the people who are going after this group are really dumb. One of the questions I had, actually, generally, is there's so much focus on Claire being married to Gabe, but these sort of, I don't know, rumors or the way people thought about the relationship started with you. So it's very interesting that they've focused in on Claire. People, they seem to be going, well, we know this person, we care about this person, we want to save this person. And you, who were also involved, kind of get sidelined. And the fact that you don't really know them or have any interactions with them is almost a bit telling that...
Oh, they're basically, they're strangers. Essentially, they're strangers. Yeah. I know nothing about them, they know nothing about us, Maybe Claire's interacted with the specific people a couple more times than me, it sounds. She has more specific memories, but... Yeah, no, I mean, it is interesting too, like how many examples and stuff that people have sent me, like screenshots where like they mix us up too. Like it'll be some picture like 10 years ago, or like they think it's Gabe, but it's actually like me with my short hair and Claire, like just silly stuff like that. Like they can't even tell us apart. It's hysterical.
And secondly, until we reached out, no one has tried interviewing these 2 women, and what makes that particularly insane is not the level of incompetence on display, it's the fact that people like Amy and you have direct lines to them, and never thought to ask. Since these new rumours have kicked up, we'll say in the last few years, or like the campaign against Black Gryph0n started, have people tried to actually approach you for your opinion on this, or actually cared what you think? Because it appears with Claire's like, no, this isn't happening, that's not the way any of this occurred, you're wrong. And people have gone, well, of course she thinks that, she's a victim and protecting her husband, and now she's evil. Have you sort of experienced similar stuff, or have you just been sort of sidelined?
And no one's ever asked us. If these people actually were concerned that we were taken advantage of as minors, they've never asked us. They claim to know us. They could have. What do you think? You have our phone number or email? Like, we have peers in common. We have colleagues in common. You really that concerned about us? Like, it's insulting. We're 25-year-old adults, and frankly, they don't have any idea how young we had to become adults as well. So you want to treat us like fully, professional people at the age of 13, paying taxes and like doing all this stuff, having full careers for already, 5+ years. And yet we're too immature to know our own circumstances and our own past and present. It's very, I mean, again, if there weren't all these ramifications for Gabe's career, none of us would care at all. That's why none of us have like talked about it for the longest time, because it was always just garbage. You know why? I'm not going to be offended by something someone says if I don't know them. You know, I don't value your opinion. I don't know you. So only now, I mean, this is probably honestly the last time I'm going to talk about it is with you guys, because I appreciate that you're the first people I've seen that are actually trying to get to the bottom of this. But we all just want to move on. I mean, we're digging up our lives from 10 plus years ago because these people who have never even met us claim to know what's happened in our lives, but don't take any weight in our perspective.
I think it also moves us quite nicely onto Fandom, actually.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
Very interesting individual. He started off by being, and again, like, I have no problem answering people's questions if they're genuinely asking me a question. Or if they start, which he did, by saying, this is a situation I'm bringing to light. Claire has been groomed by Black Gryph0n, also known as Gabriel Brown, and everybody should know about it. And he proceeded with this whole long thread, and I read it, and I was like, oh, this is hilarious. Like, surely people are not, you know, gonna bite on this. And then I saw that, like, enough people were that it started to kind of annoy me. And I was like, what the heck? So I was like, listen, this guy's like, clearly he's been in the My Little Pony fandom for a long time. He definitely knows who I am. And so I feel like I should, you know, kind of make communication with him. And I did. And I said, hey man, like, basically this is, you know, I appreciate the sentiment. I'm okay. What you think is happening is not happening. It didn't happen. And it certainly didn't happen with Michelle either. So could you just, you know, go ahead and you know, problem solved. You don't have to be a hero. I don't need saving, and Michelle doesn't need saving. We're good. None of this happened. I was not groomed, you know. And he just turned immediately and became extremely defensive and didn't care what I had to say after that point, because at that point I had spoken up against what he was saying, and he was not going to have that. This is not somebody who is worried for me, and once I say something on the matter, and this is why it's so annoying when people are like, this person needs to make a statement, this person needs to make a statement. I'm like, why? Because it depends who it's for. If we're talking about people who are my fans know that I'm chilling. My fans follow me on Instagram and Twitter or whatever and see that I'm very happy in my life and my relationship, and I'm fine. And he, I think, got, you know, he was observing this on his other accounts, and this, you know, me, by this I mean me and Gabe, like, dating. When we had come out and announced that we were dating, we were worried about that, because we know that there are some people in this fandom who are, you know, a little bit loony, for lack of better terminology. And those people are, you know, will spread stuff about you. And that was something that we were like, you know, let's pick our moment, basically. But eventually we were like, you know what, who cares? Like, I am very happy in this relationship. And Gabe was like, I'm very happy in this relationship. We, you know, we had kind of talked about it, and we're like, yeah, I feel like we can kind of let our followings know. And we have a shared following, but we also have separate following. And it's kind of funny because it's like, when you announce that you're like dating someone seriously, or like getting married, like, you lose a bunch of followers. And for me, I like, you know, I had a lot of people who spoke out, and I got the vibe that they were kind of sad that I was off the market. And I'm like, okay, no offense, but like, as if you had a shot. Like, that's just kind of, some of the people in the fan base are like that. But then there were other people who were super happy for us, and they were like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. Like, I'm a fan of both of you. That's so fun. Like, I love seeing people who are, you know, like-minded get together, and like, man, you guys are going to be power couple. So like, that was really nice. But like, this, where Brony fandom lies is one of those loony people. And no matter what I said, I realized, talking to him directly, was literally met with fire every single time. I'm like, is there a way that you, like, you know, I don't know why you're doing this. I don't know why you feel like you have to. Like, I don't know what else I can say to, like, alleviate your concerns. And then I started realizing, oh, these aren't concerns. This is now an attack. And then I had speculated, actually, for a while, that this could have been my own dad, because my dad has done stuff like this before. The language was very similar. I had alluded to some, you know, sassy remarks I made with Brony Fandone's this account. And I was just trying to kind of gauge the waters, and I'm like, yeah, I found out that it wasn't him, and I was like kind of relieved, but I also was kind of mad because I was like, well, dang, now we just have like another crazy person with the same kind of mentality, and they just want Gabe deplatformed. And I actually DM'd them, and I had a whole conversation with him where I was like, all right, like, I'm gonna level with you, dude. Like, I don't know what your goal is here or your game, but I'm fine, and I don't know, like, why you're so angry about this still. Like, and it seems like you're more angry the fact that I've come out and I've said, like, this is not true now. But the whole conversation, I mean, if you even can read it, he posted it like a while ago, but it was basically like, he said, like, you shouldn't have a relationship with minors if you're an adult at all. And then I got curious and I started doing some research, and from literally like almost no effort at all of research, I was like, oh, okay, this person had like a role-playing account. They deleted a bunch of their stuff that they used to like communicate with me, that is like no longer on X anymore. But they used to communicate with me. So I'm like, so what is it that you feel so guilty or bad about talking to minors? Not even adding the words sexually to this or inappropriate. Literally just, you cannot talk to minors. And so it was very creepy to me, quite honestly, that he started saying stuff like this. And the more that he was saying that, then I started looking into it, and I was like, okay, the full con thing, like, I'm sorry, if you're normalizing, I don't care what it is, if you're drawing a freaking cabinet and you're sexually attracted to a cabinet and you say that the cabinet is 4 years old, that's really creepy. I don't care what that thing is. If it is underage and it is being sexualized and you're buying or commissioning that as porn, that is predator behavior. And I think that he's totally projecting, because I don't know. I know that I don't like just like throwing things around, especially because I know what it's like to have these words thrown at me and my own husband, but that's pretty pedophilic behavior. And it's normalizing, sexualizing young people and children, and it's disgusting. There's no loophole there. You don't get to defend why your thing is slightly different and not okay and not hurting people. Well, guess what, Brony Fandone? You're hurting me. How about that? You're hurting me. Now you've hurt one person. So is that going to make you stop getting commissioned freaking underage cartoon porn? Probably not, because there's going to be something else that you're going to defend about it the next time. I'm sick of that's so sickening.
But before I go, I want to leave you with one thing, which is admittedly kind of just for me, because there is an absurdly famous brony clip which has lived rent-free in my head for years.
However, as most of us are aware, there's a darker side to the fandom which we know pretty well. To Mrs. Oliver and Miss Libman.
Great.
Alright, so I'm pretty sure you're aware of Princess Celestia being portrayed as a tyrant, an internet troll, and God forbid, a molester.
And the reason I have to bring this up is because the young lady on stage, sat next to Peter New, funnily enough, is Michelle. And I actually did ask her about this. A panelist gets up on stage and asks you about your opinions on Princess Celestia being depicted as a tyrant, an abuser, and a molester. Do you have any memory of this?
Zero. I'm telling you, I have zero memories from conventions, almost at all. They all blur together.
I even showed it to her, and she couldn't even identify which convention it took place at, which, if anything, kind of wraps this story up quite nicely. These events from a decade or so ago mean so much to so many people, but for those involved, this was just their job. As always, more content to come. Peace.